There was a sense of airiness, the illusory lights of the cloudy skies, spectral shadows, magic mountains, sundry fragrances. Everything stood altered, perhaps because it was night. And night transforms all that is, be it the snowing solitary night, or the breathing fragrant moonlit night, or the sad, forlorn, stormy night. All nights, when they exert their magic, lend familiar things such shapes that they are hard to recognize. I don't think I was particularly good at anything else. I would remain a lousy bureaucrat. Anything else I might have done. There were not many options available. But the only other thing that I could have become was perhaps a bureaucrat, join the IAS and, retired as secretary or something. But I didn't want to be part of the system. I thought, independent if I chose an academic career. That's why. I started with Nehru as, almost founding teacher because I was the first academic, faculty to be appointed by Nehru. And so that's how I, began my journey in Nehru.
Well, we always held Professor Hassan in awe because of his brilliance in teaching. I mean, he was a brilliant teacher. And at that point in time, we used to think that many of the things that he said in the classroom went over our heads. But now I can recollect many of the things he said. And even those things that he said at that point in time impact on me even now.
You felt that you were communicating at a much deeper level with a person who was able to unravel the mystery of poetry, the intricacies of words, and also the beauty and complexity of human emotions.
He has also impressed me as a human being. His kindness, his thoughtfulness, his small gestures, his ability to come down to the level of a student, a nervous student. Walking in his footsteps for all these years, let me tell you, has been a very difficult and onerous duty for me. Not only do I sit in the very room that Professor Hassan used to sit many years back, but as a research scholar working under him, I have benefited from his guidance. And what I am today, let me acknowledge very openly, is entirely because of what Professor Hassan has given me.
At the university level or at the college level, students like to stay more out of class rather than inside the class. But with Dr. Hassan, most of us, we didn't want to miss his classes. In fact, we wanted to stay indoors because we didn't want to miss the pearls of wisdom and the insight that that we would be getting and that we would be benefiting from his teaching.
Dr. Noorul Hassan na at postnam. Te nga syam yaki bai long kum ipa jonga imei jonga I anti ru kunjo. Te nam syam ka ai ru ko basneu ni I. Te ka jing ki lo ko babha. Itai kum I professor ha Nehru department. Te ngala van ông và ngala bab na I menta la don frasna te ki ju wan yang aru shani ma ki snu I ki shan ba ngaru ki ru yang la long kom ka khon.
The empty shop. Why has time spread out its wares before me? Where are the things I used to buy? These purest toys of pleasure, paper flowers of fame, these wax dolls of wealth, locked in glass cases that can melt at anyone's touch. These are not the things I wish to buy. A handsome dream of love, which can cool my inflamed eyes. A moment of perfect intimacy, which can soothe my restless soul. I came looking for nothing but these, and the shop of time supplies none of these things.
Well, I was interested in Mira Kumari as an actor. I grew up watching her films and imbibing their magic and beauty. And then it was much later when I discovered that she had also written some poetry in her native tongue, which is Urdu. And then I wrote that book, which was put together soon after her death in 1972, at the early age of 39. And that book was with me for more than 3 decades. And I used to dip into it, and then suddenly it dawned upon me that poetry was worth translating so that it could be shared with a wider audience. Because the Urdu reading public was dwindling fast in India, or rather in the Indian subcontinent.
Far, far away, obeying the law of life's loneliness, I will go away. Far from your world, I will go. Far, far away from the veil of sound, away from the familiar fragrance of your breath, away from the shrine of your sacred image, away from the ruins of my vandalized nest, away from this thorn pricking my heart, away as well from this blossoming of shattered dreams, away from the avalanche of the dark night, away from this row of strangled stars, away from the hope poised in the journey, away from the pledge that will not brook keeping, away, alas, from the alchemy of your touch, away from even an inkling of your footsteps, away to a place without shadows, where my whole existence, now a mere echo, embraces the void and fades forever.
I personally don't subscribe to the idea that you can learn creative writing. I mean, you can learn to write poetry or fiction or whatever. I think you have to be a born writer, and you don't necessarily have to be trained. Thomas Hardy is a classic example of a writer who didn't have any formal education worth the name. I mean, the great Shakespeare himself didn't go to school, by the way. So a great writer is born to be a writer. So if you are either born or you're not born, and you're born, you will be great. No matter how many hurdles you face, no matter how many publishers reject you. And all these writers had a history of, getting rejection flips, including Thomas Hardy, before they became great writers and were recognized universally for their greatness. So greatness is not something that can be acquired. I think it is a gift, not an acquisition. So it's a brave new world that is being explored by these contemporary writers, and I like so. I mean, I don't necessarily warm up to every contemporary writer or to every contemporary theme, but I like. Some of them are very competent, and I'm sure they're destined to go very far in their careers. I have actually enjoyed writing all the books that I've written, because I did not write them, with any ulterior motive. I didn't write them because I wanted to be famous or to make money. I wrote them entirely because, I loved writing them. Because I found a source of self-expression in writing those books. So I suppose I'm close to all the books that I've done. But I'm particularly happy about having edited Hardy is Far from Banning Trout for OUP. I'm also quite delighted that I wrote a book on Hardy called Thomas Hardy, The Sociological Imagination, which was published in London in 1982 by the Macmillan Press and was, discussed and talked about worldwide. I look upon life basically as a series of, accidents or coincidences, chance. That's why I'm very fond of Thomas Hardy, because his novels are full of, these coincidences, sudden turns of events which you can't predict or foresee. So that, element of unpredictability, what Hardy called the persistence of the unforeseen, well, that is what life is basically. I mean, you can't plan everything. Life is basically contingent, and I've accepted it, as a contingent, as a series of accidents, as following its own logic or illogic. The writer lives in his work, so one is always, meeting and conversing with those writers. And one reads, so physical meeting has no meaning really. You can never figure out my inner secret. I elude worldly apprehension altogether. I remain inscrutable to prophet and saint. All this for a reason none other than me. I am the acme of individualism in this world. I am the sole source of creativity here. I am the rise and fall of heaven and earth, which are finally put to rest in my own self.